Talo Falava, and welcome back to Breaking Waves again for another episode with a very special guest all the way from the beautiful Hawaii, Dr. Tawhesira Fa'i, Edward Danielson. Welcome to our show. How are you today?
Talo Fatule, so Paiole too. I'm Tawhesira Fa'i, Edward Danielson. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm very thankful with the connections with Dr. Salah for inviting me on this platform. They say manatue o mai idunganei, but with this talanoanga, o lo o mai nei o le valaulia le polyfest, and on top of that was also some research with what we do at our university, and kind of wanted to go back to Goifaile So'olea with University of Auckland. We've been connected with them. We go back to like 2000 and 2005 as they came to us with the Fale'ula conference in Hawaii. And that's with Dr. Ulianatele Vavao and his team up there. And then we came here back in, I would say, 2014. We had with the University of Auckland. So it's been a while that we haven't connected since then. Now it's like the invite from them to be one of the judges on the Samoan Stage, because it was hosted by University of Auckland, the Samoan Stage, and they were the main sponsor for that stage. So with that, connection to ko so el mako ba le officer o Samoa nei Iokilangi mako officer Samoa I Hawaii. Just a little bit of a background with what I do in Hawaii. Been teaching for, I would say, about 30 years now. I started as a teacher's aide, assistant to Professor Pulai, Dr. John Mayer, and also to Saili Malo, Dr. Faftailesa. And then from there on, I started my classes, like teaching my own classes around, I would say 2000, it was in 98. That's when I started my first classes, 97, 98. But I was a TA before that. Till today, still teaching. I've seen like the changes from then till now. I mean, I'm here today and I still teach my classes with this technology. I kind of think for COVID that, we brought Zoom and started teaching on that. We had to go through a lot of trainings, like technology training to use technology in teaching the language. And, one of the coordinators or the stage coordinators, Henry Lemoa, Fisuai. Now he's with AUT with that, his field is on the technology and language. And I'm hoping that we will be going to some conferences up in the US. I believe there's one coming up in November in Virginia. So that will be another chance for me to bring somebody from, here in New Zealand to the US.
It sounds like it's been pretty busy for you then, eh?
I'm everywhere now.
Yeah.
I've been trying to focus on that, and then with Salah's webinar with the Aonga Amata Transnational. I met Salah way back then, year 2000, and we were in some conferences in Apia with Sasia, and from there on, that's where kind of catch my attention to with Aonga Amata. It really takes me back to when I started with Aonga Amata, and I have pretty much my whole family were a lot of teachers, especially that in American Samoa. It was started with ECE, and I believe I remember that she was the co-founder of that. Her name is Bernadette Manasseh, sister to my mother, and that's where when I went back and I read through her articles and what she does for the young kids back then in American Samoa, it was just an amazing thing to see, and it kind of motivate me to do something like that now. And now that I met with Dr. Salah, and I'm like, hey, and even Salah knew who I was talking about. My auntie Bernadette, and she said, yeah, we could do something like this, and kind of bring every not just here in New Zealand, but from Hawaii, in California, and everywhere else up there, just to connect and go back to how we can, because now it's when we come out to outside of Samoa, we don't have villages. Our villages are churches out here. So, or we call it back then is aonga tuspaia. And even myself, when I started teaching, my teaching career started from that in the Catholic Church in Futinga. That's where I started my teaching as Aonga Samoa, Aonga Amata. And now doing studies with the university, I never thought that I would become a teacher. When I came out of high school, I'm a grad of Marist Brothers in American Samoa and All Boys School, and I was all into sports and thinking that I was going to get into a medical field, because I had a scholarship from when I graduated from the community college there in American Samoa to go to Kentucky for military GRTC boot camp there. And I was going into medical field. That was my MOS, is the medic, be a medic. And then goes on, and Mom kind of want me to come back closer to home. So I completely left the military and I came back to Hawaii.
Wow.
When I got to Hawaii, I was thinking that I was going to continue on with this medical field, but then I met a couple of friends there in Hawaii. Dr. Lisa, Haftai Lisa, he kind of asked me if I could come and sit in his class. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can. So I went there, and sitting in that class, I'm like, this is very interesting. And he even made me to like help the students and help with like grading his assignments and things like that. And then he introduced me to another professor there. He was the first linguist, Samoan linguist, Dr. Fipulai Lase, John Mayer. From then on, they were my mentor.
Wow.
With teaching the language. Along with two other most important people that helped me, build my Anganu'u understanding is our late Aumua, Taitusi and Vita Tanielu. Vita Tanielu, he was also my, cultural mentor back in those college days. But even before that, I had other people that kind of helped me throughout, the whole Anganu'u. Like my late uncle, also a husband to my auntie Bernadette, Aumua Bitone Manasseh. He was also like, inspired, in my inspiration to like teach and learn the Anganu'u. I was always around my cousins, Waifiauto in Whaingata Manasseh, and that, it really like pushes me to learn. And, and then with the church, when I was teaching at Futinga Catholic, we had Monsignor Etuale Lelofi. He was one of the best that I, pretty much learned my Anganu'u from. Very, very knowledgeable, the Patele. He's one of the first guy that Patele, that I know that can speak 5 different languages in the world, and still, he had books that he wrote himself about the Anganu'u and how he applies to, like, even with Aonga Mata. So, like, a lot of these connections, like, I always like go back to where I started from, and it's the main reason why my interest is on Aonga Mata.
Yeah.
So,
and I can see you've had a lot of good support and mentors in
yes.
your life to help guide you. But tell us about growing up in American Samoa. What was that like?
Like I said, that was my, as a young kid, like, everybody thought that looking at this guy with light skin, they've been calling me like Palangi and all that. But yeah, I mean, the name and the skin color doesn't, even though, like till today, that's one of my other job that I do. I do like interpreting and transcribing for court. So not only just court, but also like immigration, hospitals, and all that. I do a lot of those. So a lot of people, they looked at me, who's this Palangi? And until I start speaking,
you can go into every room and be a Samoan and
like even my students at school, like every time they see me, they like walked in and then they looked at this guy like coming in, like, oh, are we in the right class? And then I'll just pull another joke back to them, like, no, you're in German. Until I start speaking, I'm like, oh, this guy's Samoan. But anyways, going back to my
growing
up in American Samoa, a lot of people that were around me kind of built of who I am today. Starting from again, not only my parents alone, they were just passed last year, and I know Salah knows my auntie that from Vailotai, Auntie Sevelina and Auntie Falupenga. They were the one that kind of go see me when as a little baby before we every time my parents would go to work. And then from there, like there were other people like from my mom's village in Leone. Like even like with them, they were also educated, well-educated people, like Dr. Trudy Salah, one of my favorite aunties from Leone, and my uncle, the late Joe Yuli. Those were the people that I was around, and I see them, growing up very well-educated, and I feel like I should just follow their footsteps. So went to Maris Brothers, 4 years there, graduate, and then to American Samoa Community College. With this whole time, like I never had, like, again, like I said before, I never ever thought about being a teacher or had this feel. Like, I mean, on my dad's side, like, from the village of Aua, with the Tufanga family there and the Fa'angata family from Whangatongo. He also have like families in Lipea and Lauli'i. It's like his side is, I see a lot of like people in the medical field. Maybe that's why I wanted to go that route. But then when I came back, I met more people within the education or the field. So other than that, culture-wise, I mean, I don't want to compare anything like that, but from what I see when I got into learning and teaching the language, I have, my family here in Upolu and Sava'i, I'm always around one of my favorite fathers, Alaiba'a, Sawape, and so being around him a lot, that I noticed the difference between the two, from American Samoa and even Tutuila and Upolu. And then, and then I also have, a family here in that I met here in Auckland, which is from the village of Safatoa and Nassau. Just being around them and seeing the Samoan, it really like helped me understand from both sides. Not quite the same. I mean, it's the same anganu fa Samoa, but different customs like angai whanua. But it's a lot of learning experience.
What's the difference with the angai whanua?
Angai whanua, it's your cultures and beliefs that you do in your own land or your own villages.
Yep.
Right. Like, let's say like if you're from I'm just going to use those two villages as an example, like Safato and Asau, Esialfa, Safako, Esilfingafa, Asawa, Esilako.
How they work, yeah.
Yeah, how they do things in their villages. Kaiva penga foila, like, between tutuila and upolu and Sava'i, Esel fa Sava'i lako, esel fa upolu, esel fa tutuila, esel fa Manoa. Ese umang pa it's same, Samoan culture lang kusalan mo ese ang ay mo. Alang workas lang mo Samo.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess all this experience and your time spending with your family and mentors to become a teacher has led you to previously be one of the judges for the 2025 Polyfest that we just had. With the rain, it was raining so heavily. But please tell us, how was your experience being a judge for the Polyfest in 2025?
I'm, thankful and had the opportunity to be a judge on the Samoan Stage. So I'm very thanks to Lemoa and his team, and also the University of Auckland for inviting me to be the judge on that stage, and also the whole team from the Polyfest. The director Sayuli, they're pretty much they were very nice to me, taking me around and showing me like what they do here and understand of what Polyfest is all about. We do have something that's similar to the Polyfest here in Hawaii, but not as big as this though. It's this is huge, and I do know that they are at that level where that I don't think I can compare what we do in the U.S. to this though. It's not because the students there in the U.S. can't do it. It's just that it's a very, very I would say limited access to the resources that we have there for them. Majority of the students or people that wanted to learn Samoan, it's just because they don't have access to it. We do have, our own program at the university, but not every university in the U.S. would have that. Now that they started to teach the Anganuan Samoa inside universities in California. There's one in Stanford, I believe, and there's another one. I believe it's Fullerton, if I'm not mistaken. There's some other universities there. But the experience, it's it's just an amazing, it's different. I feel like, because we always watch these on social media or on YouTube from, in the US, and being here and, see it for myself, it's just, it's huge. And, I'm very, very proud of the Samoan community here and the staff, the teachers, and everybody, especially the parents, for sharing this their language and tanganu to the young generation of Samoa. It was raining. It was, but that didn't stop them.
Yeah.
And when I was on the stage, judging, and I was looking down on the field, I see these parents, just sitting there, cheering for their lakufa'angaumo. And I'm like, wow, that's like love there. That's with all the hard work that they went through, they didn't want to stop. They just keep going. And that's the attitude and the mentality that I was watching the whole time. They wanted it. They really wanted it. And as a competition, this it's like I said, it's in a very high level. This is something that I would see at a professional level in the U.S. I mean, I couldn't even explain how else that this can be, not only like from the launga, but the Tatalanga competition, but the Siva competition. It's in that professional level.
Yeah.
From a high school.
Yes, absolutely. And just imagining the amount of preparation that went on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it really. That's what I was looking at. Not just the day that they were performing, but I could imagine. The time that they put in to prepare for that day. Yeah. Everybody was on that level. Like I said, compared to the U.S., I mean, there are schools there, but not all of them. Yeah. Like here in Hawaii alone, not including the mainland. Like, if I compete kamiki because I see it that not every school have the same amount of Polynesians in that school. Like in some areas there will be like 90% of Polynesians are there, versus like to other areas of Hawaii where there's only like 2%. So when they compete, it's not fair. And from what I see here, it's kind of like all even up.
Yeah.
When they compete, it's like they're very, very competitive.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what I
a lot of other nationalities are joining the Samoan group.
Yes, like I've seen like other people, like the Asians or the other nationalities, like makwai, lelei uma, sising pakamala. With my classes too at the university, like I have students that started with me from the 101 level all the way up to the 400 level. Like we focus on the intro of the beginners. Like none of it is cultural. I mean, we have to teach the language and the culture because those two go together now. But not so much on the culture. Like we're basically go deep into the language, like from pronunciations to everything in a sentence structure. Until you get to year 3, then we like kind of introduce you into going into like whaingalaunga, like ceremonial speeches and oratory language and that kind of stuff. Though. In the middle, it's more of like literature. We were like do like books of from book reviews on Upper Went and all these famous Samoan writers. But kakea o kamikilea o kulunga ile level leo o makwai, and majority of my students are non-Samoans. I would say the percentage of my students in my classes that are Samoan, maybe like I would say 5% of that.
Oh wow!
And majority, like the rest, is like other nationality. What's
the main driver that wants people that you've found in your experience that makes them want to learn the language again?
The culture. Like they, because I always do a survey question in the beginning of class, like before, we start out the semester. I just write out that one question: why are you taking Samoan? Majority of the answers that come back to me is because they're interested in the culture.
Yeah.
And they just want to learn. Hawaii is like very like majority of the students there are athletes from Samoa. They're like for football or other sports in there. So when these students are like following their Samoan friends and they're like interested, they want to understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then they follow each other and then they ended up in taking Samoan class.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you would see like, komiki palangi, ka may kiniauli, ka may kisaina. I have a student, 2-3 years ago, came into my class with like no knowledge, like don't even know anything about Samoan. And then when he got to year 4, like he even took like the Launga class. And then we did we usually have our Samoan day after he was our Whailaunga that day. Like he came in like a student that no knowledge, like didn't know how to speak Samoan. And then got to year 4, he was like fluent. Like fluent too.
You know, because there's a lot of talk about Samoan language revitalization across, mostly in the diaspora. In Samoa, you know, the language is thriving there. Everyone speaks it. Because you've studied linguistics, what is your kind of idea on the best way to make sure that those Samoans overboard can maintain their language and their culture and their...
You know, it starts within the house. We always say this, that, you know, our parents are our first teacher. So, you know, I would say that you have to be consistent. Because if you don't speak it every day, even though if you come to my class and try to learn it, and then you go outside, like everything stays in the classroom and you don't take it with you, it's not going to work. Like you have to practice and use it every day. And there's no way where you want to come and learn and you don't use it. It's going to be, you're pretty much wasting your time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I believe with this strategy of like, if you hear it, you speak it. Okay. That's one of the practice that I always do in my class. I use like simple dialogues, just talafalawa, oloingoa, so and so. Use that every day. And every morning I throw it to my kids. Okay, do a conversation, you know. By the end of the semester, they're already fluent with that conversation. Because they hear it every day.
Yes.
You know. And that's the same, like, you know, theory that I wanted to apply into families. And my suggestions, if you wanted to learn, try and use it every day. Be consistent.
Yeah.
Because the minute you stop, you're going to forget.
Yeah, absolutely. And it might be trickier for Samoans who are maybe 4th or 5th generations overboard. Samoans overseas, sorry. Who've lost it, and they, you know, even their cousins or their family, they've lost it as well. What's your kind of take on that, on how those people can?
You know, like I said, when you, I mean, I have a lot of people that I know or students that came out to me. You know, they grew up in or born and raised in Samoa. Then when they leave Samoa, they came and live in Hawaii or in Okilangi, like, you know, outside of Samoa. All they're going to hear is this dominant language, English. Because when they go to school, all they hear is English. When they come back home, the parents, if they don't speak, you know, if the parents are like, you know, speaking English to them, they're gonna end up, you know, language lost.
Yeah.
Just because they're not using it. So language is like, it's an everyday thing, you know. Like you have to continue. You have to practice every day.
Yeah.
You know, I believe in that theory. If you hear it, you speak it. But if you start hearing other languages, you're gonna forget about what you started with Samoan.
Yeah. They don't want to learn the language from the shame that they may receive. What do you give advice to
that's
people
the
you come across like
worst.
that?
That's the worst that you could mentality is olema. I I remember with my mother used to tell me like, "Oh, que ma, you know, olema merki aporo."
Saule looking up. Your mom was right.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's something that you really have to break. You know, even with me, like growing up in the Samoan family, I was very if I come for English. I was very much to like speak English, and I wasn't the greatest English speaker or anything like that. Like I did my best to learn, and even to today I'm still learning. I don't even like I struggle with English at times, especially when it comes to my research and anything that I write. I remember my English teacher back then. That I have to write my paper like maybe 10, 15 times. And you still get the mark back. You would like, no, it's not right. So I mean, again, it goes back to being consistent. That's the worst is when you're ma with the way you speak, and it came to that point where like I just didn't care. I'm like, hey, English is not my first language. I can just like I didn't care if anybody mock me or anything like that. I was just telling me it's not my language. I grew up speaking Samoan.
Hey, have you signed up with BlueNet yet? No? Well, let's fix that. Head over to www.bluenet.co.nz and hit Join Us today. All you need to do is fill in your name, date of birth, phone number, and a few other details. This helps us get you set up faster. We'll also need a photo of your ONT serial number and your modem. Not sure what an ONT is? Don't worry, this is what it looks like, and every house with internet has one. And make sure you have a valid ID and a utility bill or government letter to confirm your address. When you join BlueNet, you're not just getting fast, stable internet. You're also supporting shows like Tautaiae, Breaking Waves, and Sports Salanoa. Your BlueNet subscription helps us bring you more content. If you sign up this month, you get $10 off your first 3 months. If you have any questions, call 0800 258 638. Join BlueNet today. Such a deeply ingrained colonial mindset, that if you don't speak English, you're not intelligent. And I guess a lot of our Samoan people who move overseas, they receive those kind of attitudes, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's their own friends, the ones born there. So it's crazy.
I don't really look at the people that would talk to me. Even I mean I get that a lot. They've been calling names and things like that about because they look at me like I look like a palang, but I don't speak like a palang. I'm like, it's all right, because it's not my language. I didn't, it's not my first native tongue. I grew up with speaking Samoan, and I'm proud with my language, and it's again, it's something that you just have to put it aside, and your focus is what you're learning. Kusa polali ma, like come fight. Like nga wea oling nga ma. Just run it, just go. Just go. Don't look back.
It's like me on my journey right now, learning. Luckily, I'm in a Samoan company, so like language, it's everywhere. I just have to put more effort into speaking to our team members in Samoan, but I still face that a bit of shame, like, oh, I screwed up, which is something I need to conquer. And saying that, learning your anganu'u, your culture, your language, is it develops your character in a sense, even with your own people. Sorry, I'm only coming from this because, us with not enough life experience, these things get to us a lot, whether it's shame from our own community. And I see it online so much, our digital community. Get it more kaka Samoa, like around my age, they hate the culture because of how they're treated when they want to learn. But you know, in Samoa, right? When you learn, you don't talk. You just follow. It's kind of, this is Samoa. You just follow and you kind of like don't ask too many questions. You look and do. And then in New Zealand, we're kind of like, when we're in schools, we're given step-by-step methods. So it's kind of a shock when they go back to Samoa and it's like, no one's telling me what to do. You have to find in place. So on how they teach. So there's kind of that gap on Samoan method or way of learning and integrating with its people, and then how it's done in either New Zealand or Australia. And it's just that mixture, and it's caused a lot of people to have a distaste for our own people. But I wanted to ask you, I guess, what's your advice outside of, not caring about these people, for people who really struggle with finding peace in failing in front of their own families, in front of their own friends and their villages?
I always look at, like various quotes about in that kind of situation. Mistakes, that's how you learn. That's where that ma should be on the side, but you just go. When you make a mistake, that's your first step of learning something that you wanted to, understand about. What we all lang as a student, I found that majority of everything that I make mistakes on really make me better. Kilo ai pola la mese lang fai o ko lo ko kam fai e fa sao. And then not only just try to correct it, but I ended up going beyond that, as the just want to know more about it. So like I said, like worrying about your mistakes is ke lea le o nga ke maua mai. Ava pe se mea lai ke alolu e popole va ke you might do a mistake. Again, popole is almost the same as you being ma. It's the same thing. You being shy, that shyness. Ai ma lo mai pole ke ke aku sa me ngai lo. You're not going to learn anything. If you put that behind you and just go, I mean, I don't see like other nationalities being like that. I mean, maybe, I know there, but I don't see not once a palangi inside my class that try to learn Samoan, they would laugh at each other, but us, like when somebody makes a mistake, we will laugh at it. But that's normal to us, That's how kako kariye ama.
Yes.
But kariye nga la oi fo mafofo dis kama kiki. E aka la he's learning.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about is that when you have that negative thought or mindset, you're not going to go anywhere. Like you have to be positive and just go. Like if you worry about this and that or be shy about this and that, yo malfa va lek pa pega. Kuai lunga alula.
Yeah.
you get there.
That's awesome. That's such good encouragement. I feel encouraged. I'm going to go and speak broken Samoan to the other Samoans in our office.
See, that's the mentality that, like, when you're thinking, like, again, you have to think positive. Ke mawawhaulo lala ke speak broken, niskan ka ke la ke broken.
Yeah.
I am a whauwhau you like ke sao I find me like come you get there.
Yeah.
Like, it comes with it, as you go within your heart and just do it right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Edward, for coming onto our show and sharing your wealth of knowledge and wisdom with our audiences. And we wish you all the best with all the amazing things that you're doing, Mr. International, making connections everywhere. But thank you so much, and we wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and it's a pleasure to share with you all.